and welcome back to Durban in eThekwini, where we are of course hosting, or the Department of Transport is hosting on behalf of South Africa, the International Maritime Organisation World Maritime Day, and this is of course a parallel event as was explained earlier. So some of the issues that I touched on earlier regarding South Africa and the nascency of this particular industry along with the opportunities that it presents will be taking further, as I had said, and I'm joined right now by Paul McClons, and he's the CEO of AMSOL, or African Marine Solutions. Thanks so much for speaking to us this morning.
Good morning.
So this industry, as I said, it's been in its nascency for quite some time, but give us the lay of the land. We have a country with 3,000 kilometers of coastline, but are we optimizing it?
The short answer is no. There's a lot more to be done. And you should probably start with a public-private partnership between government, if we look at shipbuilding. And one of the issues I raised last night with a colleague was, why don't we use our diplomatic channels and build ships on consignment to our countries that we are trading with, like in Africa or in Middle Eastern Europe, so that we can build the shipbuilding industry as an example, and then we can create thousands of jobs, sustainable jobs. Especially if we're looking at the fact that we're sitting with 42-45% unemployment, there's an ideal opportunity to create jobs. Just one area, ecotourism and coastal tourism. Why don't we have ferries like in Amsterdam or the Netherlands that can ferry people around our coastline to see the sights? And then there's of course the oil and gas sector that is still struggling to get off its feet. But there are also enormous opportunities for the supply chain and logistics to support the oil and gas sector. And that's where we are at the moment. We've got lots of plans and ploys, but nothing that really put into practice.
And I'm struggling to understand what the impediments are here, because if you look at Operation Phakisa, it was meant to address exactly these sort of issues and help us along. You speak about, some of the opportunities that exist. Given that we are such a mineral-rich country, we export those minerals. So why haven't we taken advantage of that? And as you say, even if it is through public-private partnerships, exploited that opportunity in order to create jobs, sustainable jobs, and also perhaps put ourselves on the map in terms of this industry.
I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. But clearly, the issues are the willpower, whether that be political will or just the vision to do that things. I mean, it's not rocket science. If you want to do it and you can create the right incentives by government and the support for private sector and for industry, then it can be done.
So what sort of support are you receiving at the moment from government?
Well, as a private company, we receive no support. I would imagine that support would be given to the shipbuilding and repair industry in terms of incentives, similar to what they do for the Motor Industries Development Program. Ourselves as a private company, we operate on private principles.
And tell us about that, because you're playing in a big pool here. And when you look at other countries and how they have gone about building and asserting themselves in the space, they've had quite a lot of time. If you look at the establishment of the IMO in 1948, there's been a lot of time for them to basically get themselves settled in that. But as South Africa, you speak about this public-private partnership. Where should we start? Where can we start? And is it a case whereby you would rather have government lead, or do you think that the private sector should lead with government perhaps taking care of the regulatory framework and things like that?
Indeed. In many instances, private sector should be leading. I mean, we've already started. Operation Phakisa is that start. Now we just need to operationalize it and make it happen. A number of projects have been identified. A number of impediments, a number of government bureaucracies have been identified. We must now just do it.
Let's talk about the impediments and the bureaucracy. What needs to be attended to?
I mean, obviously the first thing is political will. You need to sit down with industry and say, what do we need to revive, for example, the shipbuilding industry? Are there incentives from government or DTI? Are there collaboration with Transnet as an example? What needs to be done? And give it to private sector under controlled conditions. I think the issue is that government in many cases are afraid to lose control, whatever that control may mean. But if you look at countries like Malaysia or Singapore, there's a much closer collaboration between government and private sector on achieving developmental goals, which is growth, development, increasing export, job creation, training and development, capacity building. We all know these things.
And I was looking at the registry, and this has been an issue also, you know, for quite a long time. And I was speaking to someone from the Department of Transport, just trying to get a sense of where we're at. And he was telling me very low in the registry still. We're talking about maybe 8, South African ships that are registered. So if we look at that, it seems abysmally low, because it is for a country with our capability, as I said, with the sort of opportunities and the materials that we export to the rest of the world.
Correct, but that's also an indication of how low the activity in the maritime sector is. Our company has 10 ships on the ships register. They are built here, registered here, flagged here, and that's what you want. And if you look at how a maritime nation is growing, your ship's register is one indication of the activity, where you attract business and you keep the business here. A lot of the ships here are foreign owned, foreign flagged, foreign registered, and in many cases foreign crewed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these are obviously things that we need to address. And
yes.
Are you hopeful that there will be some headway made here at the conference?
I'm forever hopeful. This is my country and I want it to prosper, so I'm hopeful. We're making the right noises. I think there's a lot more political understanding. The Deputy Minister was quite articulate last night, so I'm hopeful.
And I'm hopeful that the Deputy Minister will be able to impart more of that hope to us, because she's one of the guests that we hope to speak to later on. And we'll try and put some of this to her, because I understand this is something that she is particularly passionate about. But from African Marine Solutions, the CEO, Paul McClone, speaking to us. And as you heard there, again, the opportunities are there, but are we going to actually take advantage of them?